Here we go up our Sunday Rocky Peak hike. Here yesterday, noticing that there's a pretty good crop of wildflowers right now, although it's not as good as last year. So I decided to film today. I'll probably get a lot of flowers. One of the reasons I like this hike so much is because of all the sandstone rock formations. It's quite beautiful. There's a lot of these really small violet flowers, more of a ground cover. You can see how small they are. The hills in the back are actually on the other side of the Highway 118. Those are the Simi Hills. We're over on the north side, which is the Santa Susana Mountains. This area here I always think of as like the movie set clearing. Before I came around a few years ago, the guys told me there was a Robert Redford movie set here. I can't think of the name of it right now. It was about some military action in Afghanistan. Here come the guys. Here's an old cave. Sometimes there's people up in there. It's actually pretty large. It's hard to tell.
You doing a documentary?
Yep.
Cool.
Here's the second park bench. A little ways above the first. And that trail there is the Hummingbird Trail. There's the marker. You can hear the bees. See them? There's more of that violet ground cover mixed in with the ever-present mustard that grows here. It's everywhere, that crazy mustard. But there's also this other yellow flower. Those are tiny little flowers. If I can get out of the light, there we go. You see how small they are. They're very, very pretty. I love the sandstone rock formations here. There's this little canyon here. In my mind, this is the end of the first part. First of 3 sections in my mind, at least. And this is the hardest. Well, it's the longest. The middle section, which I'm just starting on the way down now, is pretty easy. So there's these big rocks on either side here. There's a lot of flowers up ahead there. A lot of people rest here. I'm usually going pretty fast, but I'm going slow today to film. So guys coming back behind me, and look at all this color. Very pretty. More up there. And if I go around here a little bit, there's even more. There's a lot of those kind of yellowy orange flowers around here. This is a very attractive spot too. Look at that. Here's one of those yellowy orange ones up close. Very pretty blossoms on that. And here's one of these other bright yellow ones. That's not mustard. I don't know what that is. I would have to ask Mike Kuhn, who knows everything about everything, and he would tell me. There's some little purple ones in there. I like those a lot too. There's going to be more of those coming up. You might hear the rumblings of a jet in the background there. We're more or less on the flight path to, I think, both the Burbank Airport. That's the San Fernando Valley back there. You can catch a glimpse of it. As well as LAX, probably depending upon the wind patterns. More so Burbank. We get a lot of jets coming over top of us here. I'm in the shade now, so these very light violet blossoms are probably going to show up pretty well. They don't tend to show up very well in the bright sunlight. It washes them out. They're quite spectacular though. And here's a pretty large bush full of them. You can see more of the color there. I'm still in this middle section here. It's pretty easy here. We get a lot of mountain bikers on this trail too. It's pretty steep. Often you can hike faster than they can go, on the uphill at least. They have a bit of an advantage after that. I'm still on the middle part of the trail, the easy part. There in the distance is the final ascent going up to the left. That's pretty steep. When you hike fast, that gets pretty challenging. I did it pretty fast yesterday, about 38 minutes. I always like that rock formation there. I find it interesting. And there's my oak tree that I mentioned. My oak tree. Everybody's oak tree. And you can probably see the trail there going slightly diagonally up to the left. It's pretty steep, that last section, especially if you have not stopped at all. I'm not tired at all because I've been stopping to do all this filming. But that's a pretty hardy tree too, because it goes for months, like everything else out here, without any water in the summer. I don't know how they can manage to survive. These are some pretty flowers too up here. You see that gleaming white flowering plant there in the center? There's a lot of those out right now. Sometimes you get several of them right in the same spot. I need to ask Mike what the name of that is. I've heard, but I forget now. There's another jet you can hear. That's what I took just a minute ago. I should mention, before I forget, somebody once told me that Bob Hope used to own this land. I don't know if that's true, but somebody told me, and I don't remember who it was that told me. I have no reason not to believe it. I'm almost up at the top, but here's some nice flowers here that don't show up at all in the direct sunlight. They all just left me unceremoniously. I'm not quite to the top. That's okay. They don't want to wait around for me. Almost. That's a pretty nice rock there. It's bigger than what it looks like right now. Sometimes people go up and sit on those rocks when they're done hiking. And here we go. Here's where we always stop. The trail goes on that way and meets up with the Chumash Trail. I usually sit on this rock and look out over Simi Valley. There's usually a pretty good breeze up here, just like right now, so it's a good chance to cool off. Here's somebody else coming up, but he's not part of our group. Like I said, a lot of people sit up there. Actually, there's a very large water cistern on the other side of those rocks. Somebody told me they used to use that. They'd let it fill up with rainwater and then use that to help fight fires. About a month ago, I was right here, about this time of day. And from those rocks there in the distance, I heard a coyote howl. A perfect Hollywood movie coyote howl. They really do make that noise. And then he started barking like a dog, but it was pretty cool to hear him. Here's this little canyon area. We're on the return trip. I'm walking with Roger now, who waited for me. Gentleman that he is. And there we go. There's a nice view when you come through this little pass here. So we're headed down. That's the Rocky Peak hike. I love it.